Now, I recently posted this on X or on Twitter, and basically this is showcasing daily purchases of the SCHD or the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF that I've been making in one of my portfolios for several years now. Now, as you can see over here in the video, for the most part, most of the daily purchases when it comes to SCHD has just been a single share or two every single day over a very, very long time frame. And over the past several years, the accumulation of purchasing so many shares of SCHD, I'm currently sitting at around 712 shares of SCHD across all my portfolios combined. Now, the obvious is, of course, that I'm not an investor that owns the most shares of SCHD across the entire universe or across YouTube, etc. But I just want to showcase what buying a single share or two of this ETF over the past several years has accumulated to, and how this has particularly probably changed my life forever. So in this video, we're going to talk about SCHD and why it's my foundational position, why I like this ETF enough to buy a share or two of it every single day, go over exactly how much SCHD is going to be paying me as far as dividend income in the future, and why this single position most likely has changed the outlook for my investing future long term. So if you're a long-term dividend investor, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. Now, I first want to make it very clear that the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF or SCHD is not necessarily the one-size-fits-all best investment opportunity for every investor out there, but for me personally, being a relatively younger investor, I'm 32 years old, and having a decent time in front of me as far as my investing journey, but also wanting an investment vehicle that's going to pay me a substantial amount of dividend income pretty quickly. Along with the fact that this ETF is low cost, of course, well diversified, I mean, the list goes on and on. This ETF for me particularly seemed like the perfect ETF to use as a foundational position in my portfolio. Now, I've shown you guys my in-depth dividend tracker, basically every single stock and ETF that I'm holding as of right now across all my portfolios combined. And of course, down below in the description, you can grab this same exact tracker. But the reality is that for any long-term investor, there's going to probably be a few positions that you're going to load up on and build out a foundation, and then have some other investments sort of sitting on top of that. Now, for the past 2.5, 3 years now, like I said, I've been buying shares of SCHD every single day for the most part. And I showed you that video towards the beginning of this video, sharing with you one of my portfolios where I in fact have been buying a ton of shares of this over the last years. Now, I understand that buying a share of SCHD, this is of course before the split, so if you guys are watching this video, I'm sure SCHD probably already split, but keep in mind it's all the same difference. Buying a share or two of SCHD over the last few years every single day is not necessarily an easy task, considering SCHD has cost anywhere from around $60 to $80 per share, but I made sure to have some cash balance on the side, whether or not it's from dividend income or from cash balance that I had to deposit. I made sure to have enough to buy a few shares of SCHD every single trading day because I knew this position is going to be very, very important for my portfolio and for my future long term. But the real magic is here, and this is one of the main reasons on why I think particularly that this position, this ETF, is going to be the make or break position for my long-term journey as far as my investing portfolio. And this is simply because this ETF that I currently have around 702 shares of, and that currently pay around $2.93 per share per year, at least that's a trailing 12 months. This means that as of right now, I'm currently earning around $2,086 in dividend income as far as a trailing 12-month dividend yield, or around $173, $174 per month. Now, I know what you're saying, why in the world is that even a big deal to you? I mean, $2,000 per year in dividends is not necessarily going to make or break anything, or of course, not even really going to help you pay for your bills most likely. But the magic part is right here in the dividend growth rate. The dividend growth rate for SCHD over the last 10 or so years has been somewhere around 10 or 11% if I'm not mistaken, so let's just go with a 10% dividend growth rate. So this means that next year, by the end of next year, I'll probably be earning around $3.22 as far as annual dividend payout for SCHD. Now that goes from $2,086 per year already up to almost $2,300. Now, I know you're saying 2025, by that point, if you don't buy another single share of SCHD, because remember I have 712 shares, that's still not really going to be that much money. That's still not really going to change anything necessarily. But the cool thing about dividend growth rate and the awesome part about buying into investments that historically have a strong dividend growth rate, I'm talking about names like SCHD, like VU, like DGRO, VYM. And if you guys are watching this video at this point, you probably know some of the high quality dividend growth ETFs that I'm talking about. But the cool thing about those dividend growth style ETFs is that they, at least historically, have been paying investors more and more year after year. Now that means that as of right now, even though I'm currently earning around $2.93 as far as the trailing 12 month when it comes to SCHD, by 2028, for every single share of SCHD I have, I'll be earning around $4.29 per share as far as dividends go, and that's with a 10% dividend growth rate. Now some investors seem to think that the dividend growth rate is going to go down, some investors think it's going to stay the same, and some investors like myself think there's even going to be a chance that it could be higher. But either way, with a 10% dividend growth rate, it's going to take more or less just several years, probably around 7 or 8 years, until the $2.93 payout for SCHD's dividend right now is going to more or less double, which is going to significantly impact the dividend income that I'm receiving across my portfolio per year. Now, this also means that if I were to not buy another single share of SCHD and just hold on to my 712 shares, again, this is all pre-split numbers, keep this all in mind, I'd be earning double the annual dividend amounts, and this is by 2032, which is less than 10 years away. Now, the other reality is that I'm definitely going to keep buying more shares of SCHD. Certain days I'll probably buy a share, certain days I'll probably buy 2 or 3, but I'm most likely going to get to the point to where I have pre-split 1,000 shares or post-split well over 3,000 shares. And the crazy thing with that is that if I get to 1,000 shares, my dividend income by 2034 would be over $7,500 per year. Now, I can't speak for everyone, of course, we're all different ages and we all have different investment objectives, but by 2034, I'm going to be around 42 years old, and by this point, my SCHD shares, again, if I just have 1,000 or 3,000 shares post-split, will be cooking up some massive dividends on a yearly basis. Now, obviously, something that we can do in a future video is extrapolate out how much I would potentially be earning from dividends from SCHD alone by the time I'm 45, by the time I'm 50, or even by the time I'm 60 years old, which by that point, as long as SCHD even raise their dividends by 7%, 8%, 9%, we're talking a large amount of income on a consistent basis. Now, it's hard to believe, but not that long ago, SCHD was trading in the mid $60 range, which now is nearly $20 off of the most recent all-time high. And there was tons of dividend growth investors across the board that were buying this one like crazy at the lows, but there was also a ton of investors that were running for the hills and thought that this ETF's run was finally over for good. Now, quickly zooming out, you can basically see that every single time historically that SCHD has seen a dip, it's recovered and then some time and time again. But to be fair, ever since around 2022, this ETF has been sort of in a slump, trading mostly sideways, more or less, but still all along while paying investors more and more in dividends year after year, which is still something important. So this is why I think it's so important, especially for younger dividend growth investors, to build out a high quality foundational position in a high quality index fund into a dividend growth ETF, something like SCHD, DGRO, VYM, something that has a track record, something that has a high quality strategy methodology, and something that's going to pay you more and more in dividend income long term. Because again, as long as you can hold on to your investment, sit on your hands, you're going to be earning more and more dividend income over the years, as long as you buy into something that at least has a track record of growing their dividends consistently. So now that I share with you guys specifically how my situation when it comes to buying my 712 as of right now shares of SCHD has most likely completely changed my life for the long term. I'm not talking next year, the year after that, but I'm talking 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I think I'm going to look back and be very, very pleased with these purchases. I lastly, most importantly, want to hear from you guys down below. When it comes to a long-term position, building out a foundational position for your long-term portfolio, what's a single stock or ETF that you're sort of trying to do something similar like this with, that you're trying to buy, hold on to, get paid more and more dividends over time? Drop some ticker symbols in my comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.